Well, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you happen to be around the world, and welcome to Office Hours here on Hosting.com's Agency Success. My name is Nathan Ingram, and every Thursday we swing the doors of the virtual office open and let you ask whatever you would like about tech, business, life, whatever you want to talk about. And we have many things to talk about today. So if you're just joining us in Zoom, open up the chat and say hello. You will find therein the link to ask the question. If you have a question to ask for this office hours, you can do that. And at any time, you can just go to wpnathan.com and you'll see a big blue ask a question button up there. You can do that at any point of the week. And we take the questions roughly in the order they are received. But as always, we start off with a little discussion about some of the things going on in the WordPress world or things that impact us as agency people or people doing WordPress things with clients, whatever label you like to place on yourself. The first thing I want to talk about are some changes to the way we are giving out the resources, downloads, link, all those things here with our Agency Success live streams. Now, I'm going to drop a link in the chat. This is our link bundle, and you'll see all the newly updated links. I think we did this last week, but I want to talk about it a bit more today because they're at upcoming.myagencysuccess.com. You have this landing page. This looks really good on a phone, by the way, but all of our upcoming live streams are here, and this will click through to, like, for example, if you want information about my live stream next week about the scope strategy, that links right over to the blog post where you can register for all of those upcoming live streams, and you can't see the screen. So last week also, there we go. I'm getting good at not showing my screen. So there you go. This link tree style group of links is regularly updated with all of the upcoming things, and you can click straight through to each of the upcoming live streams on the hosting.com blog. All of them have nice register buttons, and you can just go right over and sign up for those right there on this nice link, which is the short link to it, upcoming.myagencysuccess.com. Now, also, I want to share with you that over in the Agency Success Slack group, if you go here to the live streams channel, there's a whole bunch of links up here. So we've added everything in that link bundle that I just dropped in is right here in this link section in the live streams channel. Now, if you are not in the Slack group, you can join the Slack group simply by going to myagencysuccess.com and put your email address in, and that will sign you up for our emails as well as get you an invite to the Slack group. So here is the link to this link tree right there with this upcoming live streams. Also, we've added a link here to the Google Drive where all of the live stream downloads are. So this is everything we've done so far on Agency Success live streams. So all the slide decks. Here's the one from the other day that I'm interested in going back and rewatching. The domain migration that Daphne talked about. So all those decks are here in this Google Drive. Also, quick link over to Agency Success Replays, which is our YouTube channel playlist for Agency Success replays, as well as Office Hours replays. I don't know why this has taken so long. That's interesting. And then also one other Google Drive link that has all the chat logs for any live stream that I've been part of. So I save those over there after we're done. So all of the chat logs are here as well. And I don't know why these aren't loading. That is really, really strange. There we go. Who knows why that didn't work? But here's all of the replays right here in this Agency Success playlist, as well as the here the Office Hours are in a separate playlist. So hopefully that makes it a little easier on you to find what you are looking for. So again, if you're looking for this in Slack, here we are in the water cooler channel, which is where you start out. Just click on the live streams channel, and right here at the top, you click on this live stream links, and right there. So there you go. You know what? Thank you, Melanie. Melanie's asking in the chat where to ask a question. After we finish up today, I'll add the Ask an Office Hours question link to this as well, but it is now back in the chat. So hopefully that will make life a little bit easier for everybody as you're trying to navigate all of the agency success things. Let's talk about something interesting that's going on here in the AI world. If you missed this, this just happened maybe about a week ago. ChatGPT announced that they are adding something they're calling the agentic commerce protocol. Now, this could really be revolutionary for AI. It's like everything these days is revolutionary for AI, but this is pretty big because this protocol that OpenAI has developed alongside Stripe, they developed it as an open protocol so anyone can use it. This is going to allow you to actually purchase items directly within a ChatGPT conversation. It's pretty crazy. Let me restart this so you can see the video happen. So here's the prompt. Can you help me find a great housewarming gift for my friend? Maybe handmade ceramic dinnerware under $100. So we're going to search, and it's about to surface. Look, first of all, it's working with Etsy. It surfaced a couple of products in Etsy, and right there in the ChatGPT conversation, you can buy the item right there. That's pretty amazing. So it's going to be rolling out very quickly, and it is currently they're testing it with Etsy sites. But here's the fun thing. This is in the WooCommerce roadmap as well. So with all of the AI things that WooCommerce is doing with the MCP and the Abilities API, they are also going to connect with Stripe's agentic commerce protocol, meaning that if your e-commerce site if ChatGPT knows about it, it could start recommending products out of that store. And as long as you're using an express checkout option, that like the ones that Stripe offers, then people can buy things right there in the conversation. Pretty amazing. And this is not a lot different than like Google Shopping, where the products are surfaced and you can kind of go straight there. It's a little quicker because you can express checkout right from the AI conversation. Pretty amazing. Now, you're not giving ChatGPT your credit card, okay? It's just like you don't give WooCommerce your credit card when you check out. It's actually passing straight through to Stripe, and Stripe is conducting the transaction. It is pretty amazing. So that is all coming, and it's neat to see how WooCommerce is going to interact with this as well. Something else that I'll mention is that if you have one of these specialty domains like .studio, .agency, .social, .church, any of these specialty top-level domains, the company that manages most of those, called Identity Digital, has raised prices, sometimes significantly. Like .church is going up 45%. So that happened this week already. The price increase is already there. So if you have one of these, or if your clients have one of these specialty top-level domains, you're probably going to want to let them know that their domain renewal is likely going to increase significantly. So there you go. All right. Let us move toward, some of you were asking in the pre-show, we're having a discussion about Prime Day and all this, and I mentioned that we didn't buy anything on Prime Day this year. I missed it somehow. I'm not sure how I did that, but we did buy something on AppSumo this week. And finally, we decided that it made sense to replace our help desk, and we bought Thrive Desk on AppSumo, and we really like it. So Chris from my team is in the chat, and he loves it. Chris has been setting this up for the last couple of days. It's pretty darn amazing. The UI is beautiful. It has AI features. It has a help desk. It will let you embed a chat bot on your site that can reference help desk documents and actually start a ticket. It's got all sorts of integrations. So we like it. So you've heard me say over and over again, I'm pretty slow about changing tools unless there's a business reason to do it. And this really, there was enough of a feature bonus to move to this ticket system that it made sense to move over. So Terry's got the link there in the chat. Yeah, it's Thrive Desk. And pretty darn impressed. And Chris can tell you about it there in the chat. He's been really loving it so far. So little things like we can set it up to it will connect to Zapier, and let's say the client puts urgent in the subject line. You could have that do something else, like send you a direct email in case you're not watching the tickets on a weekend, but it's something urgent, or send you a text through Zapier, that sort of thing. There's a lot of things this can do, and the AI features are pretty amazing. So we found it pretty darn cool and not terribly expensive. Yeah. All right. I can't remember what level I think we maxed out the the stack for whatever the highest level was. We went ahead and bought that. This is one of those things, like if you're buying a tool like this, you have to be careful. It's easy to spend a lot of money really quickly, but if you're buying a tool that's going to be central to what you do, it kind of makes sense to just go ahead and buy a higher level, even than maybe you need at the moment, because you can grow into it. I made the mistake when we bought our help desk a long time ago that we've been using. That is, I mean, it's fine. It's not great. It's fine. I wish I had added on to it because we've been kind of restricted to it. So didn't make that mistake this time. And also, if they add on additional features, we're likely to get rolled into those as well. So it's an interesting tool, and we think we like it. Okay, well, with that, let us move to some questions, shall we? Again, if you have a question you would like to ask, the link is there in the chat. We have 11 questions in the list, and we will begin starting with Awesome Paul. All right, Paul. I know that having videos on my website is not as good as if they were on YouTube or Vimeo or another service. My brain is freezing on this one. What about Amazon? If I store a video on S3 and link to it when someone plays it, my server is still serving it up and using its resources to render the video, correct? Incorrect. No, so the server is going to call out to the remote destination, much like it would Vimeo or YouTube or something else, but it's that service that's going to be streaming the video or actually serving the download to the client. Now, the difference between putting it on S3 and something that's actually a streaming platform is that it's probably more efficient to push it through something like YouTube or Vimeo. Also, you're going to get charged bandwidth out of Amazon S3. So that could really tick up, especially on a higher traffic site or a video that's going to get a lot of plays. Because when somebody hits play, whether they play 10 seconds or the whole thing, the whole video is going to get downloaded, and Amazon is going to be charging you bandwidth for that, right? Does that make sense? Yeah, just like any other file stored on S3. So depending on the size of the video, like if it's just a quickie, small little background looping video for a row or something like that, we put those in Cloudflare R2, which is like S3, but they don't charge egress fees. They only charge for the amount of space that you use. And so it's a really good deal. So, the video could play 1 million times and you're not going to get charged for the bandwidth, only the amount of storage that you're using. So that's pretty cool. But in general, if it is a, click here to play this video about our product kind of video, not a background video, put those on YouTube, put those on Vimeo. Ideally, put it on YouTube and put some, descriptive text that might help with the searchability of that. YouTube is the second most used search engine in the world still. So do that. And with a lot of the embed tools, you can limit the garbage that YouTube shows after the video plays or whatever. So I would, depending on the kind of video, if it's a content video, put that in YouTube or Vimeo would be my suggestion. It is an MP4 file that WordPress pulls up. Yeah, so your server's not doing anything, and there's no rent. Even if that video lived in your media library, the server's not rendering it. That's the job of the browser and the local computer of or the phone or whatever, the device of the user that's viewing the video. It's taking your server or S3 or whatever is just sending a file, and that MP4 file will be rendered by the hardware of the device of the user that's consuming it. Does that make sense? Okie dokie. All righty, next out of the gate is Beth. This is, she says, the original Beth. Yes. Okay, yes. So Beth says, I forgot. What is your snippets plugin of choice? So my favorite snippet plugin is Fluent Snippets, which I can't seem to spell. This one, and there's a few reasons for that. This is free, and it is significantly better than other WordPress snippet plugins. Or if your theme, for example, has something like generate press elements or cadence elements or Astra custom layouts that you can use to put code in, this is still better than those. Now, the reason that that is true is that this actually, I think I have it running. Hang on a second. I'll just show you. The problem with most snippet plugins is that they store the code in the database. Now, that's not a gigantic deal, other than it's a performance problem, because the slowest possible thing that you can load information from on a web server is a database. It's significantly slower than if that code were, for example, put in your functions.php, right? So what this plugin does is it actually creates flat files. So let me just go out and show you what this does. And this is why it makes it so much better. You all can hack my two-factor code here. So let me go out to the file structure, and you can see how this works. We're going to go into WP content, and look here. Fluent Snippet Storage is a folder inside WP content. We open that up, and look, here's one GA4 tag.php. That is this snippet file right here. So if we were to edit this PHP file, we're going to see some Fluent Snippet stuff, but we're basically going to see the exact code that's right there. So like if we add like a 1 at the end of that G tag and update the snippet, then look at that. See, it's saving to a flat PHP file. So this is much faster than pulling this stuff out of the database, especially on a site where there's some snippet that's on every page. Like, so every page is another database hit that has to happen, unless you've got some caching or other things that might mitigate that. But this is much, much better. And the neatest thing of all of this is with Fluent Snippets, once you put everything in there, you can say, I want to get rid of the Fluent Snippets plugin altogether. And it has a way to transition all of those individual snippet files into an MU plugin that remains after the Fluent Snippet plugin is removed. So it's just way, way better. So Beth, I know that was a much more lengthy explanation, but it's not something we've talked about here in a while. Nope, this is the first question of yours we've gotten to, Beth. All right, so that anybody else on snippets? Pretty good stuff. It's still better, I think, to just set up an MU plugin or have a series of MU plugins. That's what we do in our base site. We have several MU plugins that are portioned based on the kind of functionality they have. And it's free. Yes, it is in the WordPress plugin directory. I'm sure. You know what? I don't even know if there is a. Is there a pro version? There may not even be a pro version. I don't think there's a pro version. No. It's just a legitimately good plugin, and it's by the Fluent team, and that's a good team. Sadie, the reason to put your GA tag in a snippet, well, two things. First of all, I'm not going to go off on this rant, but never, ever, 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 ever use a Google Analytics plugin. I don't even care if it's Google Sitekit that has to authenticate in order to add your plugin, your GA code to the site. Don't ever do that, because they will sometimes inexplicably come unconnected and you're not tracking traffic and you can't recover that. So always put the code in. And the reason that I like to do it here is this right here. With most code plugins or, encode yourself, you can say, only show this if the user login is false. So if the user's logged in, unless it's like a membership site or an e-commerce site or whatever, I don't want to track me or the client who's logged in on the site. We don't want to track that traffic. So this code is not going to appear on the site unless the user's logged out, right? And you could even do this with a role. So I don't want to track admins or editors, but I do want to track members or subscribers. So you could do it that way too. But it's a really easy way to portion out traffic of, clients and you on the site. Okie dokie. All right, next up is another question from Beth. All right, Beth says, I got AI to write the code to remove the custom post type slug from ACF from the URL. Okay. Is there a non-code way to do it? The instructions say to put it in functions.php, but I am not using a child theme. Ooh, Beth. So where should I put it so that it stays put even when updating? So the WordPress way to, let me back up even further. The WordPress way is not even to put it in the functions.php. If you have code that's impacting a custom post type, that should go in a custom functions plugin or in a snippet plugin, or use a snippet. But the WordPress way is to create a plugin for this code, whether it's an actual plugin that goes on the site or an MU must use plugin that just automatically loads, right? And the reason for this is technically you ought to be able to switch the theme without that affecting anything about the content or functionality of the website, right? So if code is in your themes functions PHP and it impacts a custom post type or WooCommerce or something like that, then that's not the correct place to put it. I mean, are the custom post type police going to come knock on your door? Of course not. But that's why there are plugins to add code that affects functionality like this. So what should technically go in your themes function.php is code that impacts the theme only. Does that make sense? That's the purest WordPress way. Will it work? Yes. But now if you're not using a child theme, don't put it in your themes functions.php because it's going to get overwritten, right? Only use a themes function PHP if you're using a child theme. Okie dokie. Okay, Beth, you have another question about this that's related, so I'm going to go ahead and do that one. Okay. So Beth is using custom post types on the Punta Cana website, business website. WordPress defaults to this structure, okay? And you can't remove the custom post type slug from the permalink. I know I can use code or a plugin to change those, but is it a bad idea? Well, yes. I would, so ACF, Metabox, Pods, all of these plugins have a way to change the custom post type slug. I mean, ideally, you name the custom post type whatever you want the slug to be, like locations or businesses or whatever, right? So you've called the custom post type PC businesses when you set that up in ACF, right? So instead, you should probably have just called it businesses, right? So, but now that it's set up, I'll show you how it's done in Metabox. I don't have ACF on here, but it's going to be a similar type setting in any of these custom post type tools. So we have this custom post type for team, and here under advanced, it's going to be something like custom rewrite the slug. So here we could put businesses or whatever, right? And that will change the slug in the permalinks. Now you'll have to refresh permalinks after you do this, but there's going to be something like that in ACF as well. Does that make sense? So, but I wouldn't do this because then you might have issues with bumping permalinks with posts and pages and that sort of thing. Just put it in the slug, businesses or something, or listings, or I mean, whatever this is supposed to be. Okay, you're changing the custom post type from restaurants to businesses. Yeah. So here's the thing. If you, in whatever the ACF equivalent of this is, where you change the slug or the name of the custom post type, all your posts are going to disappear because they're in the database, but they're not showing because WordPress is looking for the new thing and there's nothing there anymore. So what you have to do is create a new custom post type called whatever it's going to be, and then use a plugin called Post Type Switcher to move your posts from one post type to the other. And it makes it really easy to do. But you'll have to, if that's the easiest way to do this. Why? Why didn't that come up? Tell you what, the WordPress plugin search. Oh, wait a minute. Am I still using, I may still be using Fair. And maybe that's the issue. I'm going to deactivate Fair and I bet it comes up. Let's try post type switcher again. There it is. So if you've never seen it before, and this is one for a toolbox plugin that you probably won't use a lot, but when you need it, it is indispensable. So this is Triple J, John James Jacoby, an OG developer in the WordPress space. So we'll just go to posts here, and like right here, you can change. Oh no, you got to go to the actual. You can, or maybe it's, hang on a second. Maybe I can do it in the bulk actions. I know you can do this in bulk. Go to edit. And no, that's interesting. Why is it not letting us? It used to be right there. There's maybe something weird going on here, but you can definitely do it on the. So right here, post type, you can change it to a different post type on the site, and there should be a way to do it in bulk. I'm missing it right now, but anyway, hopefully that's helpful. Melanie, yes, you could always use something like WPL import to move them as well. But this way, you don't have to do like an export and import. You just change. It's literally one cell or one field in the database, right? Of what post type does this belong to? And it's going to change that. Okay. All right. Next up is Shauna. Are you here, Shauna? Hey, Shauna. Okie dokie. I have a personal website I designed when I was taking a class in full site editing a few years ago, and I love the way it looks. But unfortunately, the theme I chose is no longer maintained, and the way it is constructed is non-standard. That's unfortunate. I realize that I do not have the skills to bring the templates, parts, patterns, and styles into a new theme. How do I find a competent, reliable person to do the conversion for me, and how much should I expect to pay? That is a great question. I don't know many people in our section of WordPress, people that are doing work for clients that are doing full site editing at all. Because it's just now gotten to be where full site editing is sort of stable. Like it's been such a moving target, right? So that's the trick. What would the amount you could expect to pay? My guess is hundreds of dollars. The best options, there are two options you might want to look at for a theme. And it may be that these new themes and the way they're built, like with full site editing now versus the original full site editing, this might make it easier on you to do it, and you just rebuild it quickly, unless it's super complicated. The Ollie plugin is the Ollie theme is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And the other one, it just left my head. If Sue is here, she may know. Sue, what is Brian Gardner's new theme that's full site editing? I cannot remember what it's called. Powder. Thank you. Powder is also super cool. It is very light as compared to Ollie, but here is this. Here is the and if you're not familiar with Brian Gardner, he's the one that developed Genesis a million years ago, right? So it the amount that to get back to your actual question, the amount that someone would charge is really going to depend on how complicated the thing is that you have currently. If it is, if there are templates, parts, patterns, see, it could be, I mean, all this is in the block editor, right? So it could be that you can just copy and paste, pick a new theme, copy and paste those templates and parts right over to the other theme because it's just code. It's just HTML markup that's doing this. But the question is, do you want to invest the time? There's a lot of factors here. So Shauna, I don't know that I've been super helpful. Does that give you any direction? Shanta, by the way, you're only chatting to hosts and panelists. Shanta. That was good information. Thank you. So the other thing you can do, Shauna, Shanta may have somebody that can help you with this. Shanta, feel free to share your contact there. This is a good conversation for the agency success Slack group too. That's the great place to connect with folks. Yeah, it's hard to know what to copy out of the code. It really is. So, you know, my guess for this is hundreds of dollars, less than 1,000. But that's a total shot in the dark, and there are so many factors that could influence that. So there you go, Shauna. Reach out to Shanta. I'm getting confused. All righty. Good luck with that. I think what the original full site editing themes were built for full site editing like it was a few years ago, which is radically different than it is today. It has had so much development. And so Ollie, Powder, some of the newer full site editing themes are just much better, much easier to work with. All right, next up is Paul. Oh boy. Okay, many words. File that. Oh, this is a doozy, Paul says. Okay, let me take a deep breath. File this under, I should know this already, but when I save a page or a post in Drupal, what are you doing, Paul? I'm going to delete this just because. Okay. When I save a page or a post in WordPress, sometimes I will leave the screen and go to another open tab and continue to work. Then I see the tab open and go back maybe 10 minutes or later or more. Okay. I'm sure no one else does this. First of all, I'm happy that this is a judgment-free zone. And I know my own issues of too many tabs, ADHD, multitasking, and squirrel. No need to discuss that right now. Thank you. Okay. If I go back to the post and wonder, did I already save this? So I save it again, and this time, hopefully I stay on the page. If I don't see the little pop-up in the lower left corner, the cycle continues. Is there a dirty flag set anywhere that I can see to know if the current content is what was saved, or do I have to torture my soul every single day? Oh, goodness. Okay, so Paul, WordPress automatically saves your posts for you every 60 seconds, unless you have changed with some code that default interval. Okay. Oh, okay, let me just pause. Does anybody else do this too, like Paul's describing? Sure, no one else does this. And I realize it's a risk to identify yourself with Paul. We all do this, right? Okay. So Paul, WordPress is saving the post automatically. The auto save by default every 60 seconds. There are snippets that you can add into your WP config that change the auto save interval, right? So what are you worried that WordPress isn't saving your work? Because what will happen is you can go in another tab and look at your posts, and you'll see the draft. As long as you've put a title, well, even then it'll still save a draft with untitled. Every 60 seconds, WordPress is going to auto save that post that you're working on if there's content in it. If it's just blank, it's not going to do it. Is there any way to know if I am in that 60 seconds of not changed? Are you talking about something that you have already saved once? Because the first time it auto saves, you ought to see a slug over here. It wasn't there before. It is possible I'm not fully understanding the problem here. Phoebe, just a note, you're chatting only to me, and that's some good information. So the question, is there something on the page that says it's not saved? No. Or that it's saved. I don't know. This may change. We can come back to this and let's just see what happens. So Paul, this is the code, right? It's just a simple constant in your WP config that you're defining. Autosave interval is number of seconds, 180 here for 3 minutes, for example, right? You can change that to less, but just be aware that that's going to make WordPress do more stuff, right? And make your server do more stuff. Now, one nice thing is if you have muscle memory like I do to do Command S on a Mac or Control S on a PC, if you watch this save button, Command S, well, there's no changes. Command S saves the post, right? So you can use your keyboard to save before you do something else. Like I just do that naturally for as long as I can remember. But yeah, so Paul, I don't know. Have we answered your question, Paul? There isn't something that says this post that I'm aware of. This, or let's see, does it? Yeah, right here. This will show you when the last time was that the post was actually saved. And it may say some sort of auto. Let's just leave this right here. I've made this edit, and we're just going to leave this open, and we'll come back to it after the next question, because I think it has an auto save something that's going to appear right here as well. So we'll come back to it in just a minute. All right, and with that, we'll go to Bonnie. All right, Bonnie will not be here today, but if you had time, I would love your answer to this question. Where do you get copyright-free icons? Oh, Icon Scout looks good. There's also Flatiron, Icons 8, Dry Icons, all the icons. So the icon site that I really like is called Icon Buddy. And we bought this. It was so stupid cheap. Is this up there? Lifetime access. It was, yeah, $50, right? This is a no-brainer. And there are hundreds of thousands of icons, 250,000 icons. So like if I want something for a birthday, it's going to search all these icon sets. And the really nice thing about this is like you can click this And right here, you can change the color of the icon and copy the SVG or download it or download the ping or the React version or the TypeScript version. So like right here, I can just copy this. Well, I have to be logged in with my membership, but you can just copy the SVG text and paste it someplace. Really, really nice. So Melanie's suggesting Skybox. Haven't heard of that one. Where is it? Oh, Skyboot. Maybe you can drop the link, Melanie, because I'm not seeing it. But this, this is the sort of thing we use icons so much that $50 was a no-brainer. Yeah. So that's what I use, and we found it to be super helpful. And you can also just look within families to make sure the icons have the same design language. Alrighty. So Bonnie, hopefully that is helpful. Next up, Shauna. All right, Shauna. I am the webmaster where I work and set our website to update automatically. Sometimes, however, Site Tools tells me a scheduled event has failed. The last time it was cron hook. What would cause automatic updates to fail? Is there a way to correct this problem? Yeah, so generally speaking, I wouldn't recommend doing updates automatically. But the in this particular, just because you can't, like, what if there's a problem with a plugin unless you're actually looking at the site, your site may go down or look wonky or whatever. But in this particular question, Site Tools is showing a cron hook isn't working, meaning that WordPress tried to do something and it wasn't able to. So we would need to see probably more information on that. Oftentimes what causes a cron hook failure is a resource issue at the server. Like it tried to do something, but it couldn't pull it off. So what kind of hosting is the site on is the question. Is it shared hosting, or is it a little more high powered hosting, like a managed WordPress hosting or something like that? Do you know, Shauna? Shared hosting with Bluehost. Okay, this is most likely an environment issue. Like it tried to do something and their memory wasn't available, or who knows what wasn't available. This is one of the reasons why you don't want to host on a shared host. Like shared hosting has its place, but it's not for business websites. Like websites that are making money or need to be out there to show a business's credibility need to be on hosting that's not going to do these sorts of things. So, looking at something like rocket.net or one of the other hosting.com hosting options, it is very likely you'll avoid these issues. So that's the first place I would lean. That answer could be completely wrong based on the details of the error, but that's generally speaking the first direction I'd lean if there are cron issues. Like it could be that there's clutter in there that needs to be cleaned out. There are a lot of different reasons, but one of the first things you'll want to look at is resources at the server. Yes, Shauna, exactly. So they're not going to update the SQL Server version on shared hosting because along with your site, there are probably 50,000 other sites on that server. Not exaggerating. That's how they offer El Cheapo dollar per month hosting. They just cram a bunch of sites in there, and they won't upgrade the environment because it might have ripple effects across these other websites, right? So that's it. That's the reason, the business case for switching to better, higher quality hosting that gives you the resources that you really need, that lets you control various things about the environment. All right, Doug. Many words. Okay, trouble with the My Private Site plugin. they've just changed some things in that plugin, I've noticed. I bought a new hosting.com account plus hosting for WordPress. Great. I created a dummy site with the AI site generator. I added plugin my private site. It's not working. The site is at wego.name. Did you turn on the plugin after you activated it, Doug? It does have an on switch. Okay. So let's go to plugins real quick. I don't know if I've got private site. No, but we'll install private site. Yeah, they added, of course, you got to add AI to everything now, right? So this is it. My private site with AI defense is what it's called now. Oh, help me. We got to have AI in everything. All right. So, down here. All right. So once this is on, Doug, you did go to site privacy and you did enable login privacy like that, because that should work. We'll just test because who knows. Yes, it is working here. Oh, Doug, did you clear the cache? Oh, then I have no idea. That is weird. Uh, that is weird. Why wouldn't this work? You are 100% certain that this box is checked, right, Doug? 100%. Okay, just check. Paul says, and you hit save. Okay, it's checked and you hit save. Okay, and you did clear the cache because the WordPress hosting at the not rocket.net, but WordPress hosting with hosting.com is using Lightspeed. Do you have the Lightspeed cache plugin running, and did you purge all? Purged all cache. Did you purge Cloudflare? Are you using Cloudflare? No Cloudflare. Man, you're taking all my answers away. I don't know. That is really, really weird. Um, I've not seen anything that has stopped that from working. So try and there are a bunch of other private site type plugins out there. Try another one and see if it works. Beth says, go to the bottom. Oh, try this. Thank you. You try that, Doug? You tried that too. I don't know what would cause that problem. That was a good catch, though, Beth. Yeah, I mean, check the error log, but this shouldn't even show up in the error log. Just I mean, honestly, Doug, get a maintenance mode plugin. I don't know. Try. They've changed. So the thing is, this plugin has had some major, it's been stable for years, and they put a bunch of stuff into it now, and it's AI defense, whatever that is. And so that's like something is likely not working here. And so, no, so Melanie, I'm looking at a site right here. So weird. Let me just keep reading here. So just to make things weirder, I was checking my settings on another site that uses private site. I unchecked site privacy box and I looked at the site in a different browser and could see the site fine. Then I checked the box to make the site private again and got some alien HTML on the front end. Okay. Um, Oh, Doug, have you tried this not in Comet? But I mean, I'm looking at it here and it's not working. This is something is wrong. I mean, those are ASCII characters. It's working on this site. I don't know. Doug, I would just try a different plugin. I don't know what in the world is going on here. So strange. Oh, you answered all of these questions. Did I just already ask you? Um, man, you got me, Doug. I have no idea. Yeah, it does look like Unicode, or these are all HTML ASCII characters. Who knows? Um, so weird. But if you turn it off here, the regular site comes back? Or did it bork the site? Very odd. Doug, I don't have an answer for you. So, Doug, after you turn off privacy on this alien site, it still doesn't work anymore. And you've cleared the cache and all of that. That is really, really weird. Well, I would stop using that plugin if I were you because clearly there are some issues with something. Uh, I, that is so strange. I've not encountered this, and I don't have a good reason why this would be happening. Especially, are they hosted on? I mean, the hosting shouldn't matter here. You certainly can. There's been suggestions in the chat. You certainly can turn on maintenance mode with WP Toolkit and some other things. Um, all of that is possible. You know, if the goal is just to hide this site, that's the simplest thing. And you'll have access to that in the cPanel in the WordPress hosting. Yeah, there's been an, yes. That plugin was solid for years and now not so much, it seems. Although it's working fine for me here. I don't know. There's likely some combination of things with your site and that plugin that are just not getting along. Very, very odd. Okay, y'all, I have 7 questions left and it's 3 minutes till. So we're going to try to go rapid pace here. Next up is Terry. Hey, Terry. I've noticed there have been several office hours recently, and I'd like to review the discussions in more detail. Is there a compiled list of the questions and answers available? No. Unless, I mean, the replays are there on YouTube. That would be good. So this is something I've thought about in the past. We don't have resources to do that. Yeah, I've been doing these office hours for years prior to hosting.com with another organization. Yeah, I've thought about doing this, and there's so much good information. But yeah, we just don't have the resources for it. The chat logs, though, and the replay, like if you really wanted to do this, you could, pull the transcript from the videos on YouTube. Yes, and there's AI tools and all those things. It is possible. Whoa. Terry, that's something to think about. And I'm moving a little faster, just for sake of time. Melanie Martin is next. Hey, Melanie. How are websites hacked? I've found 3 sites over the last year. A user has been added to Google. What is GSB? GSB? Google Search Console. An HTML verification is added to the cPanel public, and a piece of code is added to the index PHP to redirect to a game site. We just had one of these, Melanie. We just had one of these this week. And the game site was in Indonesian. All sites are maintained, updated, backed up, and security. This was actually on ours. It was a subdomain of a site that was previously pointing to Shopify, and now it went to someplace else. So all sites are maintained. Server support claims it's not the server. It's not. And the sites are not updated. How is this happening? I don't know how this is happening. I need to ping Thomas Rafe about this. But what we did was we killed the subdomain, which didn't need to exist anymore. We took over control of the Google Search Console through DNS, and we deleted that user. But they did somehow claim ownership with some way of this subdomain. It is really, really odd. So Melanie, if you have more, they keep coming back. We'll see. We'll see how that works. So Melanie, how did you fix it? Please drop that in the chat. Hackers are getting more and more clever. I was having a conversation with someone earlier this week that had their managed WP. Somehow their session, it was a stolen session cookie or something. Still don't quite know how it happened, but it was, they had a whole server that was accessed through managed WP. Not that it's managed WP's fault. It's a whole complex thing, but the way people are hacking now is more and more complicated. Yeah, so Melanie says she removed the verification out of the file on the site. Yeah, and so that's clearly what happened. In this case, they had a Shopify site. They turned the Shopify, or they quit the Shopify site. I think somebody got access to that old dead Shopify site, added the code to confirm, and then pushed the site someplace else. It is weird. All right, next is Paul. We'll try to get all these in today. Oh, many, many things. Okay. Paul says a non-calculus head scratcher. Excellent. Client has a website, soullanguage.us, that cannot be accessed. From the network and others, they cannot get to the site. People get this error. www unexpectedly closed the connection. Connection closed. However, if I go through a VPN or change the network I'm on, likewise, many people can get to, okay, let's just go here. Well, okay. Okay, it just takes a minute. All right, so that works. It's not forwarding www. It is very slow. Okay. Paul, is this happening when you say from my network and others, they cannot get into the site? What do you mean by that? Like from under your office network, some IP addresses can't get into the website. So there's no security plugin involved, and you're sure that the host isn't blocking. How is the A record for the site pointing to the IP address of the server, Paul? Okay, people are I'm not seeing that that SSL error, but if there's something weird about your SSL certificate, it could create a message like this if the SSL is wonky in some way. Paul, are you using what's generating the certificate for the server? Are you using Let's Encrypt? Okay, go into your cPanel, delete the existing SSL certificates, and try to regenerate them. Run auto SSL again in that cPanel, and see if that doesn't regenerate the cert. It may be something weird happen with that. The other thing is, in your DNS, so the A record is getting the IP address. How's the www get set up? Is it a CNAME that goes to the root? Or is it an A record also? Okay. So I would also create, Paul, a CNAME for www that goes to soullanguage.us. That's the best practice. Probably wouldn't cause this problem. See, so Vern is showing a good cert. I'm showing a good cert. It's Let's Encrypt. Yeah, it's good. And this would be about the right, it's a recently generated Let's Encrypt certificate. If that's not being served to some people, that can also create something like this. So it's a hosting issue. So this is something the host needs to sort out. Something weird happening with the way this site is being hosted. I mean, the CNAME should be set up like that just as best practice, but I don't think that's going to cause this problem. So Beth can't access it from the Dominican Republic on or off the VPN. I don't think it has anything. A .us domain shouldn't restrain traffic. That's got to be something the host is doing or something at the network level with DNS. I mean, I don't see anything egregiously wrong here. Yeah. Jeffrey can load it in Guatemala. Yeah, Paul, this is when I have a heart-to-heart with the host. Terry says it loads in Kenya. This is a hosting issue. I guarantee you. The date, there was something that expired on October 7th. No, this is all that's normal. That's fine. Okay. Paul, have a conversation with the host. All right, next is Ben. All right, Ben says, you say you put the tracking code in a snippet. What do you use for e-commerce analytics? I'd like to eliminate Monster Insights, but I must have e-commerce analytics, and it should also work with my privacy and consent plugin. Good luck. What you might try, Ben, seriously, is independent analytics. This is a first-party analytics. It runs inside of WordPress. It's really nice. Are you doing Google Ads, Ben? Are you running Google Ads? You will do that? You'll have to investigate. We're just for the sake of time, we can't get into this today, but this is a really good analytics first party, like it's a first party cookie with WordPress that's going to do the tracking. So you shouldn't have privacy issues there, like with a third party cookie. And you do have to have, if you want WooCommerce, you do have to have the paid version, but it's $50 a year for one website. So it's really, and they've got a lifetime deal if you want to do that. So give this a try. I think this is we use it as a backup on a couple of sites and we really like it. It's really clean. The like Billy is saying, the reports, it's just a nicer way to view analytics than Google Analytics is. And let's face it, it's not hard to beat Google Analytics for usability. All right, Chris. A while ago, when I asked about learning and possibly switching to a block theme from Beaver Builder, you recommended Cadence. Wondering with the recent changes going on with that whole company and the two new themes you mentioned today, should I still be working with Cadence? I have really struggled with where all the controls are, how to do various things. I find I tend to write code instead of using their built-in things because they're not intuitive. Part of the struggle I have felt switching from Beaver Builder and the classic editor to a block system. Not all Cadence issues. Really had trouble getting used to block and join the club. I hate building with blocks in a page builder. I don't remember this exact conversation, Chris, but when you were talking about, I would imagine my recommendation was if you want to go to blocks, go Cadence, because I think it is the most page buildery block set that's out there. Especially going from, but blocks, I love blocks for content editing. They're so easy to use. They're so much better than the classic editor. But when you try to build a page with them, I too struggle with getting my mind around it, which is why we still build with Beaver Builder and we like it. And Beaver Builder keeps getting better. We don't have speed issues. It's a much easier for clients to use. We haven't moved from Beaver Builder. So we use the Cadence theme and Beaver Builder as a page builder. And it works great. That's us. That's us. I haven't found a business reason to move away from that structure. All righty. Next up is Tanya. Since Google is getting their Grinch on and canceling the ability to send and receive webmail, huh? Gmail doesn't send and receive webmail? I am not aware of this. Has anybody else heard this? Like you can't go to gmail.com in a browser and access your email? Oh. It's going to stop running POP3, not browser based. It's going to stop running POP3. And my gosh, if you are using POP3 today, 1995 called. It wants its email protocol back. So they're still using IMAP, which is still old, but not as old as POP3. Like POP3 was, okay, Web Geezer alert. How many of you remember Eudora Mail from back in the day? Like if you've been around, Eudora Mail, okay, right? Like that's POP3, right? We've been using IMAP since 25 years now. So Gmail's not going away. It doesn't look like, it looks like they're turning off POP3, which I didn't even know they still supported that. So no worries there. All right, I think we have one more. Last question is from Paul, who just had to bolt for a client call. So Paul, we shall answer your question in absentia. One more. A client has a small boutique style WooCommerce site. If she sells item 1 for 6 months and then stops selling it, we will remove it from the products. Is it best practice to redirect that product's old URL to someplace else? Is it okay to redirect to a generic 404 page? This is something that is frequently occurring. So I wouldn't do that. And so first of all, we're going to assume that this product is never coming back, right? So what you could do, I would do a redirection of some sort. What you could do, assuming that this product is never coming back, you could pull the product, but set up a redirect to another page or a post or something that talks about it. You could also activate inventory management for that product and just show that it's out of stock and never coming back, and put a description, maybe try these products, that sort of thing. I would not get rid of the URL because it's probably indexed, and why do that? So just redirect it to some other place, and ideally redirect them to a page or something that's going to show them something similar to what that product was. All right. Paul, hopefully that answered that question, and that does bring us to the end of our questions. I may have inadvertently skipped one. I don't think I did. Did I skip somebody's question? Are you aware? Anybody aware? I don't think I did. I had an extra tab open and I closed it, but I think I'd already answered that one. Okay. Awesome. Okay. This has been fun. Hope it's been fun for you as well. That's going to do it for office hours today. We are back. I'm back on Tuesday talking about the scope strategy, confident closing as you're having that first initial conversation with the client. We'll be unpacking a process and strategy for that. That is coming up on Tuesday. As always, the links are there in the chat. If you have not signed up for these upcoming live streams here with Hosting.com's Agency Success, do that. They're all free. They're all good. And the ones that had not been posted yet from the last week or two are posted now. Katie got those up right as we were beginning today. So thanks for hanging out with me today. I will see you back here Tuesday for the scope strategy here on Hosting.com's Agency Success, where we go further together.